Okay, this is a article which is outlines some of the things that are happening with the TF2 community at the moment. TF2's shocking toxicity problem, Valve's forgotten game. Um, I would arguably say CSGO has a lot of toxicity, probably more toxicity in my opinion than TF2. Um, for me as a player, I don't play CSGO because I've just seen the toxicity in action. Most Steam games are not that toxic, but you do get certain games, 2-4 Turbine, sometimes you do get some real toxic sort of groups, and you can have also cheaters, and if you sort of report those cheaters, we've had on our channel, between myself, Chicken, and a few of the others in our channel, we've had people being quite toxic because they've been reported as being cheaters. We've also had people who are jealous of your unusuals, as if you're a collector, and toxic. We've also had toxicity from people who assume that because you have a really big collection, even though you have a professional career and you can afford it, that automatically you're a scammer and a thief and everything bad and evil in the world. But this doesn't just deal with that toxicity. Okay, this deals with the toxicity of a deeper level. So basically, community members talking about stories of racism, sexism, transphobia and sexual abuse. Professional TF2 players responded and posting insults with derogatory terms aimed at victims. If you are a professional and you are in a position of paid or earning financial, you cannot afford in this day and age in any field of human endeavour to be sexist, racist or anything else, because you will fuck up. You will lose your sponsorship, you'll lose your popularity, and there might be a slither of people that like that sort of stuff, but generally speaking you'll fuck up. Anyway, although many of the competitive leagues have responded with statements, bans and policy changes, some have remained silent. Well, it is human nature. People want problems to go away. Warning, this contains some sexual and offensive content. Makes me want to read on a little bit, but anyway. Okay, using the term tranny to describe a player. Now, tranny, I mean, that is a mild word compared to what I've seen used on Team Fortress. And obviously tranny, transsexual, people say homo, homosexual. The term you're a homo might be derogatory, okay? But, I mean, I guess if you're a hetero, that's not derogatory. So, using these shortened words to represent sexuality, for some words like homo or tranny may have negative connotations. I guess the question is, if you are unhappy that you don't know that person, if the person's told you that's inappropriate, stop doing it. Or just, I mean, you don't have to even talk about this. You don't have to point out that she's a girl. You don't have to point out what you want to do with her. You maybe just fire the gun at the other team. That works for me, you know. So Delacroix is a content creator, and has related her experiences of people allegedly wanting to have sex with her, and having players planning to try and sleep with her at LAN events. I guess toxicity. Two players responded to the tweet with a dismissive joke and a racial slur. Peg used the term ugly gook cunt. Gook meaning Asian. And it's I guess there's no need for this really. A forum appealed for calling for them to be banned. And the people who've retired from the community because of jokes. The other thing is, it's not just racism, it's whether you want to post TF2 content. We've had people literally bullied because they start playing another game and not paying TF2 content. It's quite amazing. And this one here, in response to the transphobic announcement by TF2 League players, map maker Rebecca Ailes announced she would be ending her work on maps for the competitive scene. So she's not making any more maps, and you've lost a member because of the toxicity. Okay, who identifies as anomaly revealed they had to deal with transphobia in the TF2 projects. Toxic behaviour also takes place on Valve's very own platform, Steam, and in-game. Well, it does. Everyone has seen it. Everyone has seen people remarking, people using racially denigrating comments, and people say, "Oh, it's words, ignore it." But for some people, those words are hurtful. You also have, in addition to the races, the sexes, you have people, "Oh, you're a noob, you're useless, you're this, you're that." Just play the game, okay? If somebody gets the better of you, just call it a good spot. Wow, that's a good shot. Nice headshot, sniper. Wow, nice reflection, pyro. Got you that time. You know, you don't have to say things derogatory. I guess the problems are caused by the entire community not taking a stand when they see it. Well, this is not just the community. This is the world. The world does not take a stand. Okay, that's why some ferocious atrocities have been able to happen. You know, Second World War, Holocaust, Africa, genocide in genocides in Papua, all these sorts of things, where people turn a blind eye to things, and they can become snowball out of control. Okay, they've stated will not tolerate toxic behaviours in the competitive leagues. 2 players who victim shamed have been given bans. Okay, and one of them's had their prize money halved. Toxicity problems are already being pretty handled well by the competitive community, but I mean there is a report abuse system in Steam. I don't know how good that reporter system is. It's like the one in YouTube. You never get any feedback, and having feedback about what you've said is an important part of closure for the individual that's been abused. But it doesn't happen. The league's behavioural policies, ESEA. You can report behaviour in league matches. It does not police players' contacts or webs. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, code of behaviour does hand out bans, but only for behaviour within its own matches. So, I mean, it is, if you have poor behaviour outside its matches, it doesn't ban you. I don't know. Well, the answer is it doesn't have its jurisdiction outside its matches. I don't know. It's a difficult one. If people are really obnoxious or stalking someone, you'd expect them to get some sort of ban. Reddit post is already appearing. Have SJWs killed gaming. The problem I think Valve faces, Valve already has to contest with cheaters, and has to make a system looking at that. It also has to contest with these people doing abuse, and it also has to contest with scammers. So Valve is not a police force. It doesn't have its own cyber police force, especially not for TF2. And its bottom line is to make money. It is simply not economically viable for Valve to be a policeman. So I guess large amount of money made from Valve. The companies remain distant from. I mean, again, it comes down to economy. If you're going to spend all this time and effort trying to police something, you've got to have the do-re me to back it up, and you're going to eat into your not your shareholders, and Lord Gaben's profits. Toxicity problems have existed since its release. Okay, it's also been present in other platforms such as Overwatch. And also and has received additional attention from some other games we'll go into. Valve, according to Valve needs more as harassment occurs not only in the competitive scene but in the workshop, trading scene, the source filmmaking or art scene within TF2. I mean, the bottom line is that people are making racial sexist slurs, and there are stereotypes, etc. You're never going to be able to clamp down on all of it. It's not possible. You just have to encourage a code of ethics and a system whereby more significant things can be reported. I mean, you have people talking about bestiality and molesting children and all these things that I found deplorable on these servers. And these people think it's funny to do this to try and shock other people. It's sick and fucking unacceptable. But at the end of the day, if I go and put a report in, I look at that person, I don't see a VAC or a game ban on them. The next time I check their profile, nothing happens. Unless I have a concrete thing, I can tape it, I can put it on a video, but again, nothing tends to happen. I mean, and this is the problem of people are making these rampant rants, these absolute stupid rants while they're playing. You have to have some sort of system in place. Basically, people, survey comments mentioned toxic users can be banned from one forum, only for them to harass other people on another. So, if you ban somebody from one particular forum, then they pop up somewhere else. And the problem with TF2 is it's a free game, and there are free emails. You can make lots of accounts, and you can then be toxic or cheat, and then be found out, and then you make another account and try and be toxic and cheat again. People have talked about Blizzard, Ubisoft and Epic, basically the so-called Fair Play Alliance, to look about disruptive behaviour. Valve is absent from this list. Again, it's something that Valve might want to consider joining. And endorsement systems rewarding other players for sportsmanlike conduct. Maybe we do a vote for the best and fairest player on the field or something from your team. Maybe it's you single players out. Abusive chat has reduced with this strategy significantly, as you can see, 26.4% of America's, 16% of Korea's. Valve could do something similar. There was a similar system with toxic behavior in CSGO. The trust factor system evaluates player behavior over a number of games of Steam and matches well-behaved players together. Valve has yet to respond to Eurogamer's request for a comment, and they might not. It's a real difficult one. I think Valve has done so much to try and knock on cheaters, and now I guess they've spent all that time and effort, and they're thinking, well, now we're asking to be more of a policeman. We're doing the scamming side of it. We're doing the cheating side of it. Now we're going to have to do the, policing abuse side, which that may be quite frankly beyond what they want to bite off. It's unlikely Valve will do anything to improve problems. As a fair attitude, washing its hands of responsibility of the games it sells. I don't think this is just Valve. You have mentioned other people having things in place so to try and make games not toxic. But it's not just Valve that has this problem. Okay, there are a lot of other games that are toxic outside Valve, and it's not just TF2 in Valve. Like H1Z1 is an extremely toxic game, and I find it really, really deplorable to see some of the comments when I've watched my friends play H1Z1. So I guess with the amount of money it's making on the platform, TF2 alone, the game's army of loyal fans believe it should make some change. Well, I would say at least a third of people feel strongly about them making a change about this. A third of people really don't care, and there's actually a third of people that I think are just I reckon there's a third of people have a deep entrenchment that it's okay to sing out and say what you want about people while you're playing a game. I disagree with that. I don't think you should be able to say what you want. I think it's inappropriate to make people feel victimised just because you want to open your mouth and launch off a whole lot of verbal diarrhea. So this is something that's really, really by Emma Kent. This article is really shaking up the community to some extent. There's already 156 comments on it. It's getting more and more politically correct, the whole thing. I mean, Blizzard's got to remove the Overwatch pose because they're saying that Tracer is a bland female sex symbol. I mean, okay, fair enough. She is a cartoon. Okay. Flip argues to say, unlike posters for heroes such as Widowmaker, who is partly defined by flaunting her sexuality, Tracer's victory poses out of character has been included primarily to sell more copies of the game. Well, you're trying to sell a game to teenage and young adult males predominantly. They're going to want to see Tracer's ass. So it's just how their brain works. I guess it does sexualize. It just sexualize that character. Is it like? Are you treating the character like a meat market? It's not the same as somebody being harassed for being female on the server. So I mean, political correctness and political correctness. It's really difficult, and I do not envy anyone in the community having to try and make this. And I think it's going to be very hard for Valve to police this, certainly without costing a lot of money, which they don't really want to spend. So my feeling is that toxicity will still be a problem. I think what they could do is maybe have a system whereby there is some reporting of toxicity, and for serial offenders, then they are independently investigated. Peace.